Autistic adults are everywhere, including in broadcasting, podcasting, and running nonprofits. Today, I will introduce you to the founder of Autism Rocks and Rolls Corporation on this episode of Successful, Self-Employed, and Disabled. Hey, Define Yourselfer, I am Chris Mitchell, aka The Confident Autistic. I'm a late diagnosed autistic adult and a certified confidence life coach serving the adult autism community. On this channel, I create content that helps autistic adults understand autism and grow their self-confidence. Help me grow this channel by liking and sharing this video and by subscribing. When you subscribe, don't forget to ring the bell to be notified of new videos and when I go live. Joining me today on Successful, Self-Employed, and Disabled is Sam Mitchell. Sam Mitchell is a podcaster with autism, but is taking over with one episode at a time. His credentials are out of this world. Some include interviewing Temple Grandin, I hope I'm pronouncing that name right, an owner of an official TEDx talk, and being labeled as international speaker. However, his biggest accomplishment, Sam's that is being able to live in this world and overcome what everyone thought of him. Sam, welcome to Successful, Self-Employed, and Disabled.
Well, thank you. Good to be here, Chris. Thanks for that lovely introduction.
Well, thank you for providing that for me. And as a disclaimer to our audience, we are not related. Even though we have the same last name, we are not related.
No uncles or cousins related too.
So as far as we know, we have no relatives in common. Now, you identify as a person with autism, is that correct?
Yes.
And when did you receive your diagnosis?
I received my diagnosis when I was 4. Apparently, when I was younger, I showed a lot of signs, meltdowns when the Walmart buzzers went off, a great example. And instead of playing with toys like we do with monster trucks, I'd sort them and line them up.
That's not uncommon. That a lot of people in the autism community have that. I am a late diagnosed autistic. I've just been diagnosed a few months ago. So I'm at the other end of the, for one of a better word, spectrum, I guess you could say. So how has autism challenged you throughout your life?
It's challenged me throughout my life because there have been points where I wanted to just throw in the towel because no one took the time for me.
And that through grade school, high school?
Grade school, middle school, and high school.
All three. Wow, the trifecta.
It hurt me. It hurt me, man.
I'm sure it did. Yeah, and when you say throwing the towel, were you think about just giving up? Hopefully not as dark as suicide, but what do you mean by throwing in the towel?
Throwing in the towel, I mean, I just wanted to be in the basement at my house playing video games, doing nothing. Not even going into public.
Yeah, this shutting yourself off from the world.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I feel that way at times too. The world is too people-y for me at times. I saw a t-shirt with that on and I thought about getting that, but I haven't purchased that yet. So you are now a young adult. Did you attend college or did you just go right into being an adult after graduating from high school?
I'm already in college still.
Oh, you are in college.
Right after we end up this meeting, we're going to go back in the dorm before my trip in Pontiac. Then I got to go back to college, but I'm going for broadcasting.
Oh, okay. Majoring in broadcasting. That's great.
Yep.
So how is college helping you or accommodating any autistic accommodations that you need, accommodations for autism that you need?
Well, there's this program called Experience VU. Experience VU is where they have tutors who have their own strengths. And I get a lot of extra help with homework if I needed. Or there's also a lot of, as you can imagine, you were once this. I don't know if you were a college student or not, but you were that age at one point.
Yes.
And a lot of times we have to deal with peers and socializing. The awkward phase.
Right.
They always say it's in the high school phase. I always think it's in the college phase.
Yeah, I went through that too. The difference is things have changed a lot since I was in college in the 1980s, and and there's more resources for people who are on the spectrum. And they did not know I was on the spectrum until literally like 3 months ago. So it's I went through a lot of that without any support. So it's great that college is supporting you. Is this your first year of college? Your last year? Where are you in college?
2 years of college, and it's my last.
And your last, Austin, you're going to graduate.
Yes, that is the intended goal.
That's the intent of goal. Positive attitude. You can do this. I know you can. So, have you had any traditional employment? I know you've interned at a local radio station there in Indiana.
Yeah, that's traditional employment, as you call it. I once worked at a boarding retreat where I got to help out with this lovely lady, and I, took care of the dogs for her, fed them, watered them. I was in heaven because I was going to play with them a little bit.
I love dogs. I would love to get a golden lab. I'm a dog lover. I got a
Pit
cat
bull,
that,
pit bull or Rottweiler.
oh, wow. Yeah, I got a cat that would have a fit if I got a dog because he likes to be the center of attention. So I can't have a dog yet. Now, were there any challenges working in traditional employment um, as a person with autism that were specifically caused because of you are a person with autism?
Yes. So one of the things that comes with autism is anxiety.
Hmm.
And because of the anxiety, when I went to work, I'm going to do my best. I think you did too. You do too.
Hmm.
But not doing your best, if I was scared of making a mistake. And I know we're human, we make mistakes. But I thought, oh no, this mistake is going to kill me. The problem is I was always on my tippy toes at work,
Hmm. Now, you mean that literally or figuratively?
figuratively.
Figuratively. Okay, because I take things literal at times. So,
Got it. No, I get it.
yeah,
I wasn't going like, pretend I'm going to rob a bank. I just
yeah,
thought like, oh my gosh, please just don't screw up,
because you're
please.
afraid you're going to screw up and they're going to fire you. Was that one of your fears?
Yep. It's like mistake. I don't get a chance. You're fired. Get the heck out of here. That's a
Get
problem too for the employment.
right.
We've just met a guy recently who can get a job, but has a hard time keeping it. And here's the problem. And this is a load of BS, in my opinion. The managers or your bosses will not give feedback. Instead, it's just like, you screwed up, you're fired. No, you don't do that with people like us.
Mhm.
You tell us what we did wrong, and then we don't ever do it again.
I agree with that, but I don't think it's just for people who are on the spectrum. If you're having a problem with an employee, you need to let them know what the problem is and try to resolve it before terminating them.
Right. We're human. We deserve second chances, and that's my
Hmm.
rule. I always go. People always do 3 strikes. I'm not that nice. I do 2 strikes.
2 strikes. Okay.
2 strikes, you're out.
Okay. You're into that speeding up the baseball game thing.
A little bit, yes.
A little
Because
bit,
I don't
yeah.
see the point of a third strike. I mean, if you know they're going to do it a second time, don't waste your time on a third
Third,
because it's
right,
highly
yeah.
likely they're going to do it again.
Third time, yeah. Yeah, that's true. Once maybe an accident, second time it looks like it may be a habit. So you got to nip those in the bud. Now you interned in at a radio station as well, and that's something we have in common because I used to work in radio when I was younger. Tell us about your intern experience at the radio station.
Well, I mean, it was a job, clearly. I didn't get paid, although I wish I did. Met some great colleagues there, but I had a blast. I wish I could have worked there a little bit longer than I intended to, but they treat me with respect, dignity. I had to do some radio work. Also had to do some housekeeping work, as we can call it.
Mm-hmm.
But it was great,
It was
and
great.
maybe I might consider going back there and be a adult there and work again.
Awesome. Yeah. I loved radio when I worked in radio. It was a blast. I enjoyed every moment of it, especially morning radio. Were you part of the associated with morning radio or just the station in general?
Morning radio.
Oh,
I
that's the
got to
fun
do
part.
some weather.
That's the fun part, morning radio. That's when you get to be a little bit crazy and get away with it and get a paycheck for it if you're a paid employee. So you're in college, you're working towards a broadcasting career, and you'd like to maybe go into broadcasting after you graduate from college?
That is the intended goal. I'm hoping to do something with it. I mean, we'll see what concurs. I have possibilities. Working at a small town radio station is an option.
Mm-hmm.
I thought possibly doing something bigger, maybe. I love professional wrestling and the commentary. I've always
Right.
found fascinating, but I got the privilege to do that a little early. As I've also, and I air quote this because I haven't gotten paid, worked at several local wrestling shows by doing some
Mm-hmm.
commentary.
Awesome. Now, you've also started a nonprofit,
Correct. What we
which
do
is
with the
called,
nonprofit mainly is the events and the speaking engagements and any collaborative work. So one example is I have a couple speaking engagements coming up, possibly in September. And then I know for sure one in Houston in October. And then I'll be keynote speaking in November at Daniels, West Virginia.
wow, you're staying busy and going to school. Wow, you're juggling a lot in your life.
I know I juggle a lot, but I make it work somehow.
I'm glad that you do. Now, what's the name of your nonprofit?
Autism Rocks and Rolls Corporation.
And how did you decide to do that? And how did you start it?
Well, we started seeing it growing. People wanted to ask us for sponsorships. Okay, we were cool with that. Then we got a board all of a sudden. And then all of a sudden, our board wants to plan this big event called a gala. Never heard of it. Okay. Now I'm getting invited to speak in Oklahoma. And it all just happened just like that. So we had to literally have a family meeting and said, do we want to go through with this? And we decided, all right, let's go through with it. And if it ever gets too much, we'll put a pin in it. And so far, it hasn't gotten too much and it's still going.
That's amazing. And you also have a podcast.
Yes, Autism Rocks and Rolls. I've had the privilege of interviewing some great people on there, like Temple Grandin, had several professional wrestlers. One that'll be dropping out is a professional wrestler this Saturday. It is Jake the Snake Roberts.
Mm-hmm.
And I've also had American Idol contestants, America's Got Talent contestants. I've also had the privilege of comparing certain hobbies of mine to autism. I've also talked about autism behaviors in length.
And your podcast is on most podcast player platforms.
Yep, not hard to find. You search me in your search engine optimization, something will pop up.
And the name of the podcast is?
Autism Rocks and Rolls.
Which is the name of your nonprofit as well, right?
Yep, just add a corporation in there with the
Okay.
nonprofit, and you're good.
And autismrocksandroll.com is your website.
Yes, sir.
Now, how is running a nonprofit a good fit for a person with autism?
It's a good fit because they're the boss, and I think those on spectrum like to be a bit bossy. And those on spectrum are very efficient and can get things done. But my issue is sometimes I'm too efficient and I want to put too much on someone's plate. I forget they're human too.
That's true. We do tend to do that at times, don't we?
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about, well, we talked about your nonprofit, we talked about your podcast. And as I rehydrate there, your nonprofit, is it a 501c? Can people donate to it? How can people support what you're doing?
Yes, they can donate. The best way to donate is, I believe there's a donate button somewhere on the website. I can't remember where. You'll have to do a little digging for that one.
And they can just donate through that link.
Yeah. I just don't know where it is though. I apologize on that one.
That's okay. Somewhere on the website, you can always use a contact form and find out how to donate.
Right.
That will work. Yeah. And what is the mission of your nonprofit?
The mission of the nonprofit and Autism Rocks and Rolls is to take the stigma off of autism and other conditions that you may think are disabilities. People on the spectrum are not broken and do not need to be fixed. Those with conditions or those who want to be pitied, there's nothing to be sorry about.
That's a wonderful mission. I love that mission statement.
Thank
What
you. We
gave
also
you,
want to try to,
go ahead.
okay, we're also trying to, when parents go to online, there's more negative sources than positive sources. We want to be real, like, yes, your son will have a meltdown, but this is what you can do.
Exactly, because when somebody who is autistic has a meltdown, they it's needs to be supported and helped in a different way than a neurotypical person having a meltdown, where maybe more of a disciplinary approach may be needed. This needs to have more of a compassionate approach and understanding and trying to help the person, because often during meltdowns, from my understanding and my own experience, because we're struggling with something we cannot cope with or understand, and we don't know how to express what is frustrating us.
Right.
And compassion goes a lot further than yelling and disciplining. With
Yes.
anybody, actually, whether you're on the spectrum or not. So you kind of just fell into this nonprofit. You did not sit down one night and say, you know what, I got an idea. Why don't I start a nonprofit? Is that correct?
Yeah, I literally just fell in it. I
Fell,
literally fell in it.
so it just landed in your lap. Lucky you, because so many
Uh-huh.
people wonder what to do with their lives.
Well, I'm going somewhere. I mean,
so
got
your
some
your pl-
at least a plan.
so your plan is graduate from college, go into broadcasting, and continue this nonprofit, I would imagine.
Hopefully, yes.
Hopefully, yes. Okay, we got our fingers crossed on that. Yes. So, what is the long term goals for your nonprofit?
Well, we want to get where we can make it a job, because right now I can't make it into a full-time job. I mean, compare it to Goodwill. Goodwill's a
Mhm.
nonprofit and they're in business all the time. That's where we want
Exactly.
to be.
That's you go for it. That's awesome. And now, how can people connect with you? I know we mentioned your website. Is that the best way for people to connect with you?
Yes, or you can email me at info@autismrocksandrolls.com. You are more than happy to drop in, say hi, or if you want to collaborate, I'm open to it. Or if you want me on your show, I can do that too. We can see where it takes us.
That's all. Start a conversation and see where it goes. That's a great plan. Is there anything else you'd like to add to the conversation
Hmm.
today that we overlooked?
Well, I mean, I just think there's a whole lot of cruelty. Just smile at someone, be kind to them. And this is
Mhm.
my last piece of advice if we're wrapping up here. If
Yes,
the
sir.
world could be nice and not act so stupid, don't you think we get along so much better?
I totally agree. Sam, thank you for being a guest today on Successful, Self Employed, and Disabled. Now it's your turn. Share your thoughts about this episode in the comments. I do read them all. Until next time, I'm Chris Mitchell, the Confident Autistic, helping you navigate life as an autistic adult with confidence. The best way for you to start your journey to be your confident autistic self is by getting your free copy of 31 Affirmations for Your Confident Autistic Self. Available now at theconfidentautistic.com. While you're there, check out my signature confidence coaching program and more resources for the autistic adult. Do it now. Your future confident autistic self is waiting to thank you.